Every radio station, whether big or small, operates under a set of rules that decides what can broadcast and cannot broadcast. These regulations are designed to ensure fair play, protect audiences, and maintain ethical broadcasting standards. Welcome to the Playbook. I'm Magubane, and in today's episode, we'll break down the key radio regulations and compliance in South Africa and compare them with those in other countries and discuss how these laws shape the way radio stations operate. So, in South Africa, the regulatory body responsible for overseeing radio and broadcasting is ICASA, the Independent Communications Authority of South Africa, which ensures that radio stations follow the rules outlined in the Electronics Communications Act of 2005 and the Broadcasting Act of 1999. The key areas of radio compliance in South Africa are as follows. Broadcast licensing. All radio stations, meaning commercial, public, and community, must be licensed by ICASA. Local content quotas. Stations must meet South African music requirements, ensuring that 35% to 40% of all music played is local on commercial stations. This number is even higher on PBS radio stations and community stations. Language diversity. With 11 official languages, radio stations in South Africa must reflect the culture and linguistic diversity of our country. Advertising and sponsorship. Strict advertising limits ensure stations do not mislead audiences. Hate speech and offensive content. Broadcasters must adhere to the Broadcasting Code of Conduct, ensuring that they do not air hate speech, incite violence, or broadcast misleading news. Failure to comply with ICASA can lead to warnings, fines, and your license can be taken away. How does this compare with, say, the US and the UK? Let's start with the US. In the United States of America, radio is regulated by FCC, the Federal Communications Commission. The US operates under a more commercially driven model with fewer content restrictions compared to South Africa. Key differences in US radio regulations are as follows. No national music quotas. Unlike in South Africa, the US has no requirement for radio stations to play a certain percentage of local music. The rest of the world plays the US music. That's why, isn't it? The US also has stronger focus on free speech. The First Amendment protects broadcasters from heavy censorship, meaning radio stations can air controversial opinions as long as they do not violate decency standard. Strict enforcement of decency rules. While the US allows free speech, it has strict indecency rules. Stations cannot air explicit content or profanity during prime time listening, which is 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. The FCC has a hefty fine for violations. Major networks have been fined millions of dollars for airing inappropriate content. Let's take a look at radio in the UK. In the United Kingdom, radio is regulated by Ofcom, Office of Communications. The UK strikes a balance between public service broadcasting and commercial freedom. The key differences in the UK regulations are as follows. Public service broadcasting. So in South Africa, we have PBS and they have PSB. The BBC is required to provide balanced and diverse content, including news, education, and entertainment. Music quotas differ based on the station. While there is no set national quota, BBC stations are expected to promote UK music, while commercial stations have more flexibility. BBC radio stations are expected to promote UK music. So they are expected to play Ed Sheeran, Adele, Dua Lipa, Charlie XCX, Harry Styles, and others. Commercial radio stations in the UK have more flexibilities. The other thing is political neutrality that is required. Ofcom enforces strict impartiality rules, meaning broadcasters must provide a balanced coverage on political issues. There's also restrictions on harmful and offensive content. The UK has tougher content rules than the US, particularly regarding hate speech and misinformation. There's no fake news there in the UK. They are very serious about fighting fake news. Which system works best? Each country's regulatory approach has pros and cons. Let's start with South Africa. The SA model ensures local content thrives, but it can be challenging for commercial stations that want to cater to global music trends. Do you remember 90%? 90% white warrant? The US model provides maximum creative freedom, but the lack of content restrictions can lead to issues of misinformation and bias. The UK model, on the other side, has its own challenges. It prioritizes balance and public service, but its political neutrality rules can sometimes limit debate. Here is this week's takeaway. Regardless of the country, compliance is crucial. Stations that violate the rules will get the fines, they'll get public backlash, they will have their license taken away. They will close your station. Radio is a powerful medium, and with power comes responsibility. Regulations shape how radio stations operate and engage with audiences. What do you think about South Africa's radio regulations? Do they help or limit creativity? Drop your comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, the works. Let's grow this platform. Until next time, remember, when the radio is on, it's always a good day to have a great day.